What the heck is up, you guys? It's your boy Ace, aka Animated Heroes here, back with another video, and you guys already know what time it is. It's that time of the year where all collectors get together and we just pretty much put out a whole bunch of videos on YouTube about why certain figures that came out within the year are our favorite figures, and that's what it is. Another top 10 video brought to you guys by me, and I'm just going to be telling you which figures made my top 10 list as it goes. And honestly, I got to keep it real with you guys, man. It has been a crazy year. And this video is probably going to be quite long because I have 10 figures that are my favorite. And then I also have quite a few that almost made the list that I really wanted to put on the list, but I couldn't put on the list because I like the other 10 a little bit more. Now, as I do every year, these are not in any particular order. I love all of these figures equally. One is not better than the other just based on how it's ranked. So, that being said, let's go ahead and get into this video because it's probably going to be a long one. Starting things off with number 10, we have the big dog. One of my favorite characters, one of the only characters I really cared about that was introduced in Dragon Ball Super, the SH Figuarts Dragon Ball Super Hito, who was, to me, this dude was just a beast. I don't care what anyone says. I feel like the moment he was introduced and we saw this dude put hands on Vegeta, we saw this dude put hands on Goku, and even just his abilities. He's not like a big Ki Blast user or anything like that. I fell in love with this guy, and so this is probably a little bit biased, but then again, everything in this video is probably going to be a little bit biased because y'all already know how I am. But this figure, man, I know a lot of people were saying they had issues with the wrists and things like that, but from what I found out, as long as you take the hands off slowly and carefully, you won't have any issues with those wrists. Some people had some issues with the skirt pieces. Yeah, I don't care for the design, but I love the fact that what they did works, even though it can be a little bit frustrating. Now I found out that I can get this guy in pretty much any pose that I want to get him into, and so that right there just ups the fun factor. The articulation on this guy is just absolutely freaking stupendous. It's amazing, and it just looks like he literally came right out of the series. And so 86 reviews, I still can't believe Hit was not in your top 10, bro. You lost some friendship points. I'm just kidding. I love you, bro. But seriously, man, this figure is easily one of my favorites, and it is going to continue to be one of my favorites from here on out. Coming right in at number 9, you guys can see it. It's always a good year when you can compile a video of 10 great action figures, but for me, it's a great year when you have a Batman in there. And I've said multiple times that out of all the Batman figures I've gotten, oh, this is my definitive Batman. Oh, this is my definitive Batman. But no, this is my definitive Batman because Mafex showed us what they could do with the first Batman Hush figure. That one had a few issues in terms of quality control, but with this guy, they upped it. A lot of those issues in terms of things breaking, things not moving the way you wanted to, it not being able to pose properly, they fixed it. The only issue I had with this figure at all was the cape. I did not care for the cape, and as you guys can see, I do have a custom cape on it now, and after I did that, this thing just became perfect to me. This is definitely, easily my definitive Batman. The black, the gray, and then the yellow belt. That's what I was introduced to Batman as when I was growing up, and it's just something that I'm always gonna love. Him being my favorite superhero of all time, never gonna change. This guy had to make the list. I had to find some room for him, and here he is. Now, next up, coming in hot is the Man of Steel himself. At number 8, the Mafex Batman Hush Superman. And this is just a figure I felt like had to make the list because I don't care what anyone says. This is the definitive Superman 6-inch figure. There has been no Superman figure like this. Not the DC Icons, not any of the DC Directs, none of those DC Essentials. Just none. SH Figuart has put out a couple. They weren't any comic book versions, so I can't compare them to this. A comic book, fully posable Superman. And I'm not even a big Superman fan, But this figure just came out absolutely wonderful, man. Mafex really showcased why they are my favorite company with this release, because of the fact that they were able to put out a figure of a character I really don't care much about and make me love it. This thing is just great. And I know there's going to be another one coming out. The Mezco is going to be coming out sometime next year, but it's not going to compare to this guy. Yes, he comes with some great accessories, which I'll probably snatch and use with this guy. But let's be honest. In terms of articulation, that thing is going to be a brick compared to this. And so I just don't see anything topping this right now. The only way I see this figure ever getting topped is if Mafex makes another comic book Superman, maybe with some different accessories, maybe some extra effect pieces. That's the only way I could see this figure ever being topped. But until then, I don't care what anyone says. This Superman figure holds the crown. Now let's go ahead and keep it a buck for number 7. Y'all see the pose that this figure is hitting already. Y'all see it. This is a figure where if you have it, you already understand. You don't even have to watch this part to understand why this figure made the list. But if you don't know, I will explain. First off, I started reading the Clone Saga this year and I immediately fell in love with Ben Reilly. Honestly, to the point to where I almost love him more than Peter Parker. That's a personal thing. I always go with the different characters that usually aren't the main character. So that's just me. But this figure, Mafex really just wanted to show off. And I say that a lot because, yes, they are my favorite company. But when they put out figures like this, it's hard not to praise them. This thing came out and shook the whole entire action figure community, as well as a couple of other releases that I almost wish that I got my hands on, some of the X-Men stuff, but I wanted to save my money. But this guy was one I just absolutely couldn't pass on. The articulation on this guy is great. The paint is great. They upped the quality control. So in terms of durability, this figure feels extremely durable. The paint job just looks so nice, man. It really looks like Ben Reilly came straight out of the comic and was put into action figure form. We've already seen that Mafex can make good Spider-Man figures, but when they put this out, it just really sets the bar even higher. And so this guy had to make the list. And once again, if you've got this figure, you already understand where I'm coming from. Coming in at number 6 is a figure that I feel like does not get as much love as I want it to. And it kind of bothers me because it is the SH Figuarts Dragon Ball Z Bardock, the father of Goku. A character who so many people were asking to be added to the line years ago. And it feels like I don't see this figure on anyone's timeline. And it just baffles me that I don't. Because they didn't give us the updated Toyotaro or updated Akira Toriyama Bardock. They went with the raw Dragon Ball Z mid-Frieza Saga backstory Bardock, and that just made me so happy that they went with this version instead of the rewritten version, because this dude was a savage. Even though he wasn't the most powerful character in the series, he had a backstory that made you love the character, even though he was a savage towards his son. Bardock is just a character who I really loved, and I feel like Tamashii Nations really captured the essence of this character beautifully. He has a brand new head sculpt or hair sculpt, which is something that was also mentioned by the homie 86. So it's not like you're getting another Goku figure in terms of the hair. I don't think any of this is reuse. I think literally everything about this figure is brand new mold for the Dragon Ball line. And it's just one that I personally really enjoy, to the point I need to take some more shots of him because I've been slacking on my own. But this is a figure to where if you collect Dragon Ball figures, you got to have this in your collection. He's a regular release. If you don't have him, go get your hands on him. Coming in at number 5, there was no way I wasn't going to add this guy to my top 10. I have had so much fun with this figure, and it looks so good behind a lens. This is Buzzmod at their peak. They really showcased what they can do with this guy. So I had to put the Kimetsu no Yaiba Buzzmod Rengoku on the list, because this thing, I probably would have had it a little bit higher if we were talking about quality control issue, and I was going in that order, because it does seem like a lot of people were having issues with their left leg popping off. I have that issue as well, but other than that, this thing is perfect. He comes with all the right expressions, all the right accessories, and he just looks great behind a lens no matter what you do with him. This figure right here is just like I said, Buzzmod at their peak, because Tanjiro was good, Nezuko was good, Zenitsu was awesome, but this guy is just freaking great. I love this thing so much, and this is one that I will cherish forever. I don't think that the Figma is going to be able to keep up with this one, but I think it's going to be awesome as well, and I'm looking forward to seeing how they compete with this guy. But I had to add this guy to the list, so here he is. Big Bro Ren Goku, R.I.P. to the homie, man. Now, here we are at number 4 on the list. And if you've been keeping up with my activity outside of YouTube at all, even a little bit, you would have known that the SH Figuarts Dragon Ball GT Super Saiyan 4 Goku was going to make this list. Somewhere, some way, somehow. You would have known it. And here he is, man. This figure right here is just an absolute game changer, man. And I said that about the Spectacular Spider-Man, but here we are with another one. This thing is just great. The only reason I didn't put him higher, and I know I said I wasn't doing it by order, but here we are. I didn't put him a little bit higher because when I got this figure and I reviewed it, I was so stoked and just so mind blown with the amount of detail and just how good the figure was aesthetically that I kind of ignored some of the problems that it had. And it's not a whole lot, but it is a few. First off, this guy suffers from loose joints in the head and in the feet. Those are the main things. And then I've also heard from quite a few people that the hairline doesn't connect to the hair properly, so it kind of looks like there's a gap in the forehead in certain, sometimes they say it's with certain faceplates, some people say it's with all of them, but for me, I don't think I experienced that issue. But other than that, man, this figure just looks so good. Tamashii Nations really showcased what they can do when they've got the budget to do it. And this is a figure that I recommend for everyone. I remember how hard it was for people to get it when it went up for pre-order. I'm hoping that it's eased up a bit, because if you don't have this figure, you need to get your hands on it. As a Dragon Ball collector, if you are one, this is just a figure that you have to experience. It's not one that you need to see from the sidelines. Get your hands on this guy. He is totally worth it. Now, coming in at number 3, a figure who is probably confused as to why he's number 3 is the Sentinal Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse Miles Morales. Now, it's funny because the Mafex Miles Morales from Into the Spider-Verse was my number 1 of last year, and then here the same character is on my list again. The only difference between this one and that one is that I love this one so much better. I know some people don't like the fact that the hands don't have hinges on them. Some people don't like the clothing because of the fact that the jacket is windswept and you can't really have it any other way posing wise, but I don't care about any of that, man. This figure, if you just get it for just the Miles Morales Spider-Man look, it doesn't get any better. This not only looks like it comes right out of the movie, it looks really freaking good. The proportions look great. The extra head sculpt and accessories that he comes with are phenomenal. This guy just looks awesome, man. And if you're someone who's a fan of Miles Morales at all, or you're a fan of Into the Spider-Verse, I'm not even the biggest fan of that movie. I watched it one time and I haven't even revisited it. But this figure is just fun because of the fact that I like Spider-Man. Miles Morales, Peter Parker, Ben Reilly, Kane Parker, it doesn't matter to me. Spider-Man figures are always a joy to pose, especially when the posability is endless. And this guy's one of those figures where posability-wise, it's endless. This is one that, hey, if you haven't gotten your hands on him, figure out how, because you will enjoy it. Now, coming in hot at number 2 with the blazing cursed energy is my boy SH Figuarts Jujutsu Kaisen Yuji Itadori. There was no way he was not going to make this list. There was no way he was not going to make this list. And if I was ranking them by number, he would be at number 2, only because number 1 is number 1. And you guys will see that when we get there. But Jujutsu Kaisen took me by the storm at the beginning of this year. I have never dove into an anime so fast. It took me a little bit to get through the first couple of episodes, not because of the fact that I didn't like it, but I was watching it on a busy schedule. But I remember once I got to episode 6, I binge watched it all the way through. And then once I finished with the series, I read all of the manga. Actually, I think I finished the manga before I finished the series, but it doesn't matter. Are caught up to the manga rather, because the manga's still going. But Yuji Itadori is just one of the dopest anime protagonists, period. I don't care what anyone says, period. Period. Spell out period. Yuji is one of the dopest anime protagonists, period. And Tamashii Nations brought this figure to life, and I couldn't be more grateful. I remember D Amazing texting me before I got my hands on this figure and telling me that I was going to love it, and he didn't lie. There was no lie told. This thing is just crazy. And I know there's a lot of people who are like, I'm just going to wait for the Figma. Y'all need to stop that, man. Y'all need to stop that. If you're trying to save your wallet, then I get it. But to say you want to wait for another version because you think it looks better, yeah, it might look better in your opinion, but that doesn't mean it's going to pose better. I'm not expecting to get this out of the Figma. If I do, then amazing. But this figure right here, man, captures almost all of Yuji's expressions. The only thing that I wish they would have added is like a goofy or smiling Yuji face, because he can be pretty silly, as most anime protagonists are, especially if they're the main character. But that's all I can ask for. Maybe a Black Fist, I think that's what it's called. I can't believe Black Flash effect. The Figma is coming with one of those, but hey, that doesn't make a difference to me. When this figure was announced, Yuji wasn't known to have that technique. So it's only right that Tamashii Nations didn't add it. Who's to say they might not do it in the future if they release Yuji? Because if you're caught up with the manga, you'll know Yuji has a different look. I won't be spoiling. But anyway, this figure is just sick, man. This thing is going to be one of my favorite figures forever. And if I was to die tomorrow, I would want this figure buried with me, along with the next one that I'm about to show off right now. Now, there is absolutely no way you saw me put Yuji as number 2 and not have expected Gojo to be number 1, unless you don't know me. Because I will admit, I am a Gojo simp. I don't care what anyone says. Gojo is one of the coldest, dopest anime characters of all time. And the funny thing about it is, he's simple as can be. And that's exactly what makes him great. He's a balance of comedy and strength, and he knows how to get serious when it's time for it. And he's not overpowerful to the point to where sometimes it's hard to watch. Jujutsu Kaisen is just a very well-written anime. Gege Akutami knew exactly what he or she was doing by putting Gojo in the story, as well as some of the other characters. But this figure, Tamashii Nations, once again, round of a freaking applause. You get all of Gojo's accessories. You get him where he's got his blindfold taken off. You get the purple hollow hand. You get the infinity hand. You get everything that you need, man, from his fight with Jogo, from his fight with Hanami. They went in, man. This figure is just crazy, and I love it so much. This is another figure. If I was to die today, I want this thing buried with me, and I want to make sure that nothing can get in my coffin, because I want to cherish this thing for as long as I'm in the afterlife, because this thing is just lovely, man. I love this figure almost more than life itself. I'm not even going to joke with you guys. So I had to add him to the list. I am as much of a fan of Gojo as crazy Dragon Ball fans are about Goku, but the difference is that Gojo is a GOAT. That's all I gotta say about that. He gets the job done, and that is why he made the list. Not only because he's a GOAT, but because this figure is fire. Now, you guys already know that I wasn't going to wrap up my top 10 list without showing off some figures that could have potentially made it. One that wouldn't, but it's still a great figure, so I had to acknowledge it. Here is some of my contenders, my runner-ups, whatever you want to call them, and I'll go through these pretty quickly. First off, to the far left, we have the McFarlane Toys My Hero Academia Aizawa, or Eraserhead, whichever one you know him as best. This is a good figure. And I know I give McFarlane a lot of crap, but when they make good figures, I praise them for it. The only issue I had with this figure at all is that the knees are single jointed. Other than that, they did everything perfectly. The figure looks like he came right out of the series. I love the fact that you get different color blacks on the body, some a little bit more matte, then you have some a little bit more metallic to kind of make the figure pop a little bit. He comes with the right amount of accessories. A pair of fist hands would have been great, but I did have a pair to swap onto him, so he had to make the list. Now, right next to him, of course, we have best boy Revoltech Bakugo. The only reason Bakugo didn't make the list is because of the fact that there's just too many quality control issues with him. I love posing this figure, but he falls apart way too easily, to the point to where sometimes I'll be taking shots of him and I get so frustrated with parts falling off, I just put the figure down, go take a break and come back to it. Sometimes I don't even finish the shot, I just give up. But he just looks great. He comes with all the expressions, all kinds of explosive accessories, and he looks amazing. So he had to make at least the runner-up. Now, next up, if you would have asked me a week before these figures released, would the androids make your top 10 list? Would they even make contender? I would have told you, no, not at all. No, 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 no. Not that I don't like them, but I don't care for the androids that much. These didn't really appeal to me until I got them in hand. And after I finished my review and started taking photos of these guys, I realized just how much fun these were. Because honestly, my initial plan was to sell them after I reviewed them. But as of right now, these figures aren't going anywhere. I love these things. And I feel like if you get your hands on them, you will too. I know that some people had some quality control issues, and it sucks. It absolutely sucks. I've seen some of these that look bad, but I am extremely happy to have a great set. And to any of you that decide to pick these up in the near future, I truly hope the same for you. Moving right on to the boy Figma Tanjiro Kimetsu no Yaiba Demon Slayer, the main protagonist. This is one that took a little bit of time to grow on me. I had to accept the fact that it wasn't the Buzzmod, it wasn't going to pose like the Buzzmod, and it wasn't going to basically give me the same feeling that I got when I posed the Buzzmod. It's something completely different. It's a separate company making this figure, and once I realized that, I began to enjoy this figure so much more. Once again, it looks like he came straight out of the anime. If you get the deluxe set, he does come with a decent amount of accessories, and he just looks nice on your shelf. He's not one of my favorites, but I do feel like maybe if some of these other figures that I had on the list didn't come out this year, he might potentially would have made it. Moving on behind him, the boy Zenitsu. Part of it's biased because y'all know Zenitsu is my favorite character. If you don't, now you know. Buzzmod went all out with this guy. It's not that big of a difference from Tanjiro, but it's not necessary for it to have been. This thing is just really freaking good, man. You get all the expressions that you need. You get his serious face from when he's using thunder breathing. You get his scared faces, his comedic faces, his nervous faces, all the expressions that Zenitsu makes. And I feel like they just did a wonderful job composing this figure and putting it out there. And I'm so happy and ready for Inosuke, who I believe is going to be coming next. I think it's this month in January. So I'm waiting on that payment request from whoever I ordered it from, because I don't even remember. Now, next up, I already know somebody who's been watching this video has been questioning, Ace, where the legends at? Where the legends? I can't believe you would make a video with no legends. To be honest, I ain't even bought, I don't think I've bought 5 legends this year. Zombie Cap probably could have made the list, but it's too late. He ain't on here. We do have the Marvel Legends PS4/PS5 Gamerverse Miles Morales. This figure is just insane. I knew I wanted this the moment that I saw the promo image, so I didn't waste any time pre-ordering it. I eventually ended up finding it in the wild and canceling my Amazon order, but still, this is a figure that is just really freaking good. And I don't know what it is about Miles Morales figures released by Hasbro, but they normally go up in price. So I ended up getting a second one of these today after discussing it with the homie X Manny last night, I think. But yeah, this is a figure where if you want it, get it. It's Miles Morales. He is top tier Spider-Man character. People love him. You know him. Go get it. And lastly, we have the Mafex Batman Hush Joker. Another figure where if you would have asked me before it released, was it going to even come close to making my top 10? I would have said no, but here he is. The best Joker figure to date. I don't care what anyone says. I know some people say they like the Revoltech more. Yeah, he comes with better accessories, but in terms of how he looks, in terms of how he poses, well, he probably poses better. I'll say he poses better. But in terms of how he looks, nah, man, that thing is just not aesthetically pleasing to me, which is why I passed on it. I didn't even consider picking it up for anything other than the accessories. But I got this figure, and I was mind blown by it. And I feel like anyone who picks this guy up will say the same thing. Even Unparalleled told me that he really liked this figure. So, yeah, it's one that I do recommend. But that being said, that is my top 10 video. I know I rambled on a lot. This segment right here is already 6 minutes. I'm sorry, but I had to do it. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and make sure to go ahead and comment some of the figures that would be on your top 10 list, some of the figures that you thought that I might would have added to this list. I know some of y'all think, why didn't he add SHF Cooler? I'm sorry, man. Just some of these other figures I just really like better. And I do like SHF Cooler. I do. He should have been in the back here, but he's not. So, yeah. But anyway, give this video a thumbs up once again. Subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. More content coming in 2022. Make sure to hit that bell icon to be notified whenever I upload new content. I hope that you guys are staying safe. COVID is crazy right now. I probably shouldn't have said that word, but it came out. You already know what's up. Guys, just stay safe as we move on into 2022. I will try to get one more video out before then, but it is not guaranteed. So once again, you guys be safe. Have a great night, a great new year. Whenever I upload this, I don't even know when that's going to be. But anyway, bye.